Hey everybody, how's it going? It's a Daily Shooter, and today we're going to be taking a look at an Aimpoint that comes in at under $400. This is the Aimpoint ACO. Okay, so when I say Aimpoint, what's the first thing that you think, or the first thing that you associate with the name Aimpoint? I bet it's not affordability. That's usually one of the things that people think of last. If I was to start this video and talk about some of the stuff that people most associate with the name Aimpoint, we would talk about reliability, dependability, accuracy, durability, how Aimpoint's one of the best optics on the market, and so forth. But affordability would definitely not rank up there. However, that changed with the Aimpoint Carbine Optic. So the ACO, again, Aimpoint Carbine Optic, was actually designed by Aimpoint and released in 2015 to be a more affordable option. This is an optic that a lot more people can get into and still get that Aimpoint name, the Aimpoint reliability, a lot of the durability that you're looking for, and just a really top of the line quality red dot. Now, some of you might have noticed that I have an Aimpoint Pro box in the back. I'm working on a review for that as well. I've been working on a review for both of these now for months. And to be honest with you, I don't want to just do a tech comparison. So what I want to do is do a full review on each and then do an actual real world comparison and talk to you guys about some of the differences between the two since they are so similar. However, we're starting off the ACO because the ACO is the most affordable Aimpoint out there. Again, coming in at under $400. Now, this was sent to the channel by Optics Planet. And if you head over to Optics Planet, you can use the discount code TDS5 at checkout and save yourself a little bit of money on this and get it for well under $400. And a lot of times at Optics Planet, it's also free shipping, so that kind of helps out as well. I want to thank them very much for sending this out. This has been a great optic to test. Now, again, talking about an optic that's under $400, what do you get? Let's go over some of the tech specs, details, and features of the ACO, and then I'll give you guys my own personal opinion. Okay, so basically what you're looking at here is a no BS red dot. This thing has everything that you need, but without all the fancy bells and whistles that'll jack up the price. It still has Aimpoint electronics, Aimpoint glass and coatings, still has the Aimpoint body, and still has the Aimpoint reliability and dependability that you would expect. It is not as durable as some of their more expensive models. So if you're talking about like the Comp M4, Comp M5, and things that cost 2 or even 3 times as much as this optic right here, then no, it doesn't have that type of durability. But it still has better durability than almost every other optic that's within this price range. They are extremely tough and definitely good to go for any armed civilian that's out there. So this is definitely an optic that offers a lot, but again, in a very minimalistic package. Now, the Aimpoint Carbine Optic has a 2 MOA red dot, and one of the most frequent questions that I get when I review red dots is, what does it look like for those people who have an astigmatism? And while we are all different and our eyes are different, I have an astigmatism, and even though mine is mostly corrected through contact lenses, typically when I look through most red dots, I'll see a little bit of a blur, a Burning Man, or some type of flare come off of that central red dot. So I can kind of tell you guys what to expect. When I look through the Aimpoint Carbine Optic, which is surprising because, again, this is the most affordable Aimpoint, I see one of the best and most crisp, clear dots that I've seen through any red dot. It looks very, very nice and clear, very circular, very minimal amount of distortion. Again, you know, your astigmatism could be different than mine, and I do have mine partially corrected through my contacts. But, you know, if you're looking for a good red dot, even with an astigmatism, I gotta say that this is probably gonna be one of your better options right here. It is very, very nice and clear. Now, the ACO does have some really nice multi-coated lenses. You can see that it has kind of an orange or kind of a ruby red reflection on the lens right there, and the lens is actually set back. So even though this doesn't come with any flip-up caps or any lens protection, because of the overall design of the optic, the lens is actually set back enough where if you throw it, drop it, bump it, kick it, or have it bounce around the back of your truck, whatever the case is, nothing's going to come in contact with that lens unless it gets inside of that protective cover. And it's the same on the front as it is in the back. The glass isn't actually flush, for instance, like an Aimpoint T1 or T2 that has the rear glass that's flush with the actual optic itself. Even the ocular lens is set back just enough where it provides that lens a little bit of protection. Now this has a 30mm tube, a 30mm body, which means it'll work with any type of 30mm ring that you can find, so that's always upgradable. What it comes with is, I think, an actually very sturdy, I've heard a lot of people say because it's not one of the more expensive ones that it's not really all that great, but it's a really nice and very sturdy mount. The one thing that people say is a downside is not quick detach, or it requires a tool to put on and off. But to be honest with you, I think for most people that's just fine. It has a little nut on it. You take your wrench, you tighten that thing down, and you're good to go. It does have I would say it's a 1/3 lower co-witness with your flip-up sights, but if you ask me, it seems like it's a little bit higher than that. It's not an absolute co-witness, but at the same time, it feels like it's between an absolute and a 1/3 lower co-witness. When I bring it through, it doesn't seem like it's at the bottom of the optic. It really feels like it's a little bit higher. But again, it's definitely not an absolute co-witness, at least with my Magpul M-Bus flip-up sights. So really nice multi-coated lenses. It's very clear, very easy to see through. And one of the things that I like about an optic like this versus, let's say, like a micro optic like an Aimpoint T1 or T2 is that you get a really nice field of view through the optic itself, where one of the micro optics, when you look through, you see the red dot, and then you kind of have to take, a visual of everything that else is going around you. This you actually look through, and you get a good field of view, so you can kind of see everything through the optic. And I actually kind of like this option as well. Now, you have 9 different brightness settings. You're going to hear 10 clicks if you were to use this, but the last click is going to be for off. You have 9 different brightness settings. No night vision on this one. Again, this is not like a military type optic, so no night vision. But I can tell you that on the highest setting, it is very easy to see even in the bright desert with the red sand. And you can bring it down as low as you need it for home defense, indoor, or nighttime use. And bring it up bright enough where if you're going to be using a flashlight or something like that, it doesn't drown out the red dot. So it does have 9 different brightness settings, and if you ask me, it's plenty for an optic like this to get exactly the right setting that you want. So that's definitely nice. Type 3 hard anodized coated. Another thing I've seen kind of misrepresented in the past too is that this doesn't have captured turrets. And even though it doesn't have that big kind of spiderweb looking thing that holds the turret caps on, this actually does have cap cover little things on it. I can't think of the name here, but little captured turrets. Okay, so there's a little rubber band that attaches to it, and you can go ahead and you can unscrew that, and you're not going to lose your caps. So that's nice. I've seen people say that it doesn't have any. Maybe theirs doesn't. Maybe the older versions didn't. But as far as the newer versions go, then definitely, this one has it. So that's a nice option here. Now, the battery is located in this little tube on the top. One side, the side that faces the ocular lens, is going to be for our brightness adjustment, and the other side is going to be for our battery. Has a little 3-volt battery. It's kind of different than what's out there. It doesn't use a standard CR2032 or anything like that, but it's got this little 3-volt battery. They're available on Amazon for like, I think, $11 for a 3-pack. So they're still not very expensive. This optic right here has a 10,000 hour battery life. It is set up for constant on, and that's kind of right around the middle brightness setting. So you can keep it on the middle brightness setting for 10,000 hours, which basically turns out to about a year. If you keep it a little bit lower or turn it off when you're not using it, obviously the battery is going to last a little bit longer. If you turn it a little bit higher or keep it on its highest setting, it's going to last for less. So you kind of have to adjust, where you set up your battery exchange, depending on how you leave it set. Okay, now let me give you my final thoughts and opinions on the ACO. I think the ACO is a great red dot. I think it's definitely a good fit for most people out there. If you are not planning on, being a warfighter over in Fallujah, or having your red dot run over by a tank, or surviving maybe a 5 or 6 hour house fire, then I think that this option is good for you. I think if you look at a $400 price tag and you say, that's a lot of money, then this might be a good option for you for that. Don't listen to those people out there who are optic snobs. If they say that you have to buy a red dot that costs $800 or $900 in order to get quality, you don't. You just don't. One thing I can tell you is that when I put the Aimpoint ACO in front of my eye and I go like this, it looks just the same as every other high-end optic that I've ever looked through. It's got nice clear glass. It's got a great little red dot. It does its job, and it's backed by the Aimpoint name. So I think that's really enough for most people. Now, again, we're going to be talking about the Pro, which doesn't cost that much more. So if you want to wait and watch my review and then watch my comparison, you can do that if you want. But if you went out and you bought this today, I don't think you would be disappointed. It is a great little 2 MOA red dot. So I am personally really, really happy with it. Now, if you're looking for something that regardless of what your intended use is. If you just want all the bells and whistles, that stuff is available to you. It's out there. You can still use my discount code over at Optics Planet for it. But for those people that just are trying to scrape together that dollar but still want a really good dependable optic, I'm going to say the ACO is definitely the way to go. So thank you all very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Please like, subscribe. Have a great day.